Concept 3, multiplying binomials. So we have been multiplying monomials by a polynomial, okay? And what we do to do that is use the distributive property. So we multiply our term out here by each of the terms inside of our polynomial, okay? When we start multiplying binomials by each other, now we're in a little bit of a different situation because we have more than one term here, right? We don't have just 3x times, a polynomial with a number of terms in the parentheses. Now we've got 2, okay? So what we kind of do is we take this whole polynomial and we multiply it by each term, okay, the whole thing by each of these. So we end up with 3x times 2x plus 5 plus, okay, because these are both plus 4, these are both positive, 4 times 2x plus 5. Okay, and you can see now we have our two cases where we have a monomial times a polynomial, and we could do this property, we could do this problem with the distributive property. Okay, there is an easier way to do it though, because this has kind of a lot of steps, and we're going to have to end up combining things at the end. When we're multiplying two binomials, we're going to do something called foiling. And foiling that's just a mnemonic device to help us remember that we need to multiply each term in the first binomial by each term in the second binomial. Okay, and the foiling comes from what we call each of those multiplication problems. Okay, the first one is first, meaning the first term of each binomial when we multiply those by each other, x times x in this case. The second one is outside, meaning the first term in the first binomial and the last term in the second binomial, and that's x times 1, or just x. Inside, the third one, is the second term of the first binomial and the first term of the second binomial, or the inside, the middle two terms. And then the final one is last, or the second term of both of the binomials. Okay, so we have our first terms, x times x, or 2x squared. Outside, x times 1, or x. Inside, 9 times x, 9x. And last, 9 times 1, or 9. And then we would put these all together. Okay, they're all positive, so I'm going to have addition between all of them. I've got x squared, okay, and then I'm going to add, and I've got a 9x and 1x, so I'm going to add those together to have 10x. And then my last one is 9. Okay, and you can see I come up with a second degree trinomial, or a quadratic trinomial, from multiplying these two binomials together. That's not always the case, but it's the most common. Okay, make sure, if you haven't already, that you get this in your notes. You're going to need to know how to FOIL. You're going to use that pretty much every time you have two binomials. All right, so looking at this one, I've got my first terms. So 3x times 2x gets me 6x squared. And when I'm looking at these for steps, what I want to see is all of your problem written out on your paper. Okay, and then I'd like to see the arrows. Okay, so the first term, first outside, okay, O, right? First outside, 3x times 5 is going to be 15x. And then inside, okay, this will be positive again, 4 times 2x, or 8x. And then last is going to be 4 times 5, or 20. Okay, so I have my problem written out initially. I like to draw my arrows, and I think you should probably at least start with those. If once you've done a few of them, you want to stop using the arrows, that's okay. But you should come up with a expression like this, and then you're going to need to excuse me, combine your inside terms. Okay, so I've got my 6x squared plus 15x plus 8x is 23x plus 20. Okay, all right. Do one more quick one. It's got some other stuff in here, but it shouldn't change too much. So first terms, I've got a negative x and a 1/2 x, so that's going to end up being negative 1/2 x squared. Okay, negative x times a negative 4, my outside, is going to be a positive 4x. Okay, and then 2 times 1/2 x, my inside terms, is going to be 1x. And then 2 times negative 4 is going to be a negative 8. Combine my terms, negative 1/2 x squared plus 5x minus 8.